Kumukh is a village and the administrative center of Laksky District in Dagestan. It is located on the banks of the Kazikumukh Koysu, a branch of the Sulak River. Etymology. To name Kumukh, Laks used the name Lak or Lakril Kanu. The naming of the surrounding villages as Lakril Shahodu meant that they belonged to Lak. In all probability, in ancient times Laks lived in the small village of Lak. The toponym Lak was adopted only in the Lak language. In the understanding of Laks, Kumukh was a fortress of Lak city and then in the general sense became the capital of the Lak Principality. Historical literature mentioned Kumukh in a variety of pronunciations. Al-Masudi in the 10th century mentioned Kumukh as a city or a principality. Al-Kufi in the 10th century mentioned fortress Kumukh, which is taken as Kumukh. Ibn Rust in the 10th century named Kumukh as a fortress Alal and Kumukh. Prefix Alal can be taken as Al-Lak, that was the name of the inhabitants of Kumukh or its territory. In the 14th century Kumukh was named Kazikumukh. The prefix Gazi meant that Kumukh was the military and political center of Muslims. In the 14th century Turkish historians mentioned Kumukh as Kazikumukh. In the 15th–16th centuries the inhabitants of northern Dagestan named Kumukh as Kazikumukh and Kazikumukh. In the chronicled Nama Kumukh of 6th century and the 8th century was named Kumukh. In the 19th century Russians capturing Kumukh named it Kazikumukh and its inhabitants Lak, that for Laks also meant toponym. History. Kumukh is the historical center of the Lak people and existed before they converted to Islam. The first reliable information about Kumukh dates to the 6th century when Kumukh was part of Sassanid Empire. In 734 Kumukh became part of the Arab Caliphate. General and historian Vasily Poto wrote, "The Arabs have put someone named Shahbal the ruler of the Laks." In 778 the construction of the first mosque was completed in Kumukh and Islam got established in Lakia. Kazikumukh had been in the past a large trading and political center of Dagestan, the capital of Kazikumukh Shamkhalate and later of Kazikumukh Khanate. Craftsmen. In the 19th century the main market for products of Kazikumukh Khanate was in Kazikumukh, where one could see not only Laks with their goods, but also Avars, Dargans and Lezgins. Inhabitants of Kazikumukh supplied almost all of Dagestan with different sorts of copperware. The pottery products of Lak Borka was popular in Dagestan. Kazikumukh was the center of arms production too. Mark Raffo, V., one of the members of the Committee on Artisanal Crafts of the Caucasus, wrote in his book, Essay on the Artisanal Crafts of the Northern Caucasus, in 1882, in the past Kumukh village deservedly became famous as a kind of capital and production center of the district, known for the most exquisite examples of weapons art. Lak artisans were mainly engaged in weapons manufacturing. After the completion of Caucasian War, Laks began to develop other types of crafts: gold and silver processing, production of footwear and clothing, copperwork. The best-known jewelers were from Kumukh Nitsovkra, Duchi, Kurukra, Chitta, Chertik, Susha, Chari and Unchakutal. Gold and silver produce decorated with enamel and ivory of Kumukh masters was well priced. There were 150 goldsmiths in Kumukh along. J.L. Lazarev noted that in the industrial and property sense Kazikumukh serve as an example for all the mountaineers of Dagestan. Like the Armenians in Transcaucasia, they are smart, brave and warlike. In 1882 Kazikumukh was visited by Russian scientist Dmitry Anochin, who wrote that Kazikumukh is frequented very seldom. Meanwhile it is one of the most famous in Dagestan. Some residents are engaged in agriculture but more in manufacturing of weapons, copper utensils, as well as trade. Seasonal work. At the end of the 19th century, Laks went to work in different cities of Russia. In 1868, Alexander Komarov read that from Kazikumukh District, almost all adult men travel to work to different places. At the Paris exhibition in 1889, there was presented a copper washstand with a lantern of Lag Master Ali Butashaban. In Kutaisi province there were over 50 registered lak jewelers, 120 in Tiflis province, and 90 in Tiflis-Solong. Gunsmiths of Vladikavkaz came mainly from Dagestan and in particular from Kazikumukh and Kubachi. Among lak gunsmiths, families of Guzanov, Abdullah Akiyev and Mullah Omarov were well known. Osman Omarov was a master of coldarms, the native of Kazikumukh, who led a workshop in Vladikavkaz that employed 15 to 20 people. Osman's blades were highly prized and enjoyed the greatest popularity. Frequent customers were the Cossacks. Guzanov was master of coldarms and silversmiths, the native of Kazikumukh, who led the workshop with his brother Derpal. In 1889 the workshop of Guzan had expanded and employed 20 to 30 people from Kazikumukh and Kubachi. Guzanov produced sabers, swords, daggers, and kinjals. The Lak scholar and madrasa teacher Alikayev was born in Kazikumukh. The city's historic craftsmen, including Munchev, Abdurrahman Shakshev, Haji Muhammad, are well known. Climate. Economy. The city's economy centers on farming and construction, and the city is served by a school and hospital. Gallery.